Welcome back to the LEC. What an explosive matchup as we just decapitated a couple bears. That was gruesome. Hi, I'm Drakos. This is Caedrel. Let's cut away from the bear violence. We don't need any more of that because we're about to see some other violence in the form of Misfits versus G2. And if G2 have their way, it's going to be a very G2-sided game. But Misfits are a team, Caedrel, that we've been keeping our eyes on because they have getting better and better. We had one interview with HiRit where he said, now we play through mid, and suddenly Misfits are a top 6 team. It's absolutely crazy. But if they want to double down on what they've been able to do so far, getting a win here today would be massive, because for now, they have an edge up in the race for that last all-important playoff position. But if they lose here, it could all fall away. So let's get into picks and bans.
Lovely.
All right, right in the thick of it. Caedrel, I just kind of took that entire intro. I apologize.
That's okay.
I had so much to say. What are you feeling? How are you feeling about this game, man?
I'm feeling a bit pumped, you know. I mean, Misfits on a 3-game win streak. They're looking good. They're on the upwards trend. They have to win games ASAP to get into that playoff spot, but they're definitely the front runners on the train for playoffs. So it's straight into draft. Graves banned out, Thresh banned out, Udyr banned out, typical OPs banned away. I wouldn't be surprised to see things like the Senna taken away, which has been away, and TF, Pharrell, Kai'Sa, all the OPs, Lillia as well.
Makes sense as well to see the Senna banned off in the hands of Rekkles has been incredibly powerful also for the number of potent combos that G2 have been able to make work. Yeah, the Tahm Kench's a little bit more boring, but the Sion, something that probably should be respected when it is in those bot laners' hands. That said, the Rell, the Alistar, the Thresh, so many playmaking supports gone. Do we see a pivot away into the land of ranged supports? The Kai'Sa going to be the first lock-in.
Yeah, interesting. You can see G2 banned away Alistar, and then obviously Misfits know Alistar is the answer to Rell, so we have to ban that away, and they get themselves a first pick Kai'Sa. So how will Misfits respond? We're looking at things like the TF, we're looking at things like the Lillia, see what Misfits want to run. But Vetheo hasn't played a single game of TF yet, so I wouldn't be surprised to see them pick it up. It looks like they're going to go for the Lucian, which is a very, very aggressive pick. I would expect that to go into mid. Probably won't go in towards the bot side, but Caps is going to be able to answer that pick, as it is a blind pick Lucian. So they have to pick up an AP jungle with the Lucian mid. Very, very common. AD mid, AP jungle, playing top or bot side. Really strong mid jungle priority, and there it is.
Now having the Lillia pulled through, we saw the Nidalee yesterday and how much damage that duo could pack, the Lucian Nidalee, in the hands of G2. Instead, they've opted for the Lillia, so a little bit more utility as we move later into the game. But the immediate response from G2 Esports now is the Hecarim, a champion who, as we know, if he gets started, if he gets a decent lead, can just leap into that backline and pose a big threat to champions like Lucian. But now the Twisted Fate into the Lucian. Now that's a bold call from Caps. A lot of confidence to bring that in here.
Yeah, definitely. He's picked a losing lane, but he's going to try and win the game for his team by roaming and being proactive on the map, which Caps is known for. Whether it's Yasuo, whether it's Relia, whether it's Lucian, he's roaming around the map. And on TF, gives him the tools to be able to do that, especially with the ultimate. So they've drafted a TF Hecarim, which is more towards team fights, more towards scaling, I'd say. So definitely Misfits have the early game advantage. It looks like they might go for something like the Caitlyn, because I think Misfits have really found success on the weak side tops and range support bot lane matchups. They essentially have winning bot lane matchup, and then they don't get punished as much when it looks to the side lane. So, strong mid jungle, they have to focus on the bot side of the map. I wouldn't be surprised to hear it pick up something like the Sion.
And short of any crazy flex picks here, we are now heading into a second ban phase where both teams have matched each other on roles. That's AD carries on both sides, junglers on both sides, and mid laners on both sides, which means bans are wide open for either team. No one particularly needs to pinch either pool, but they know what they want to limit. So for now, the Shen going to be taken away, denying globals from G2. Maybe we see some tank options taken away from HiRit.
Yeah, Alistar, Thresh, and Rell banned away, so I wouldn't be surprised to see things like the Lux, Morgana, Karma, things like this banned away from the side of Misfits. So good identification from G2 there. They want to make sure that they're not facing such a strong bot lane matchup, because Morgana, especially when you use the TF full down towards bot side, you can black shield the stun card, so it kind of stops TF in his tracks there. We've also seen things like the Seraphine banned away into that bot lane matchup. So Misfits, they might blind pick support, go for something like the Lux, or they might play it safe, blind pick a weak side top laner, and make sure they get a counter pick on support to get the hardest winning bot lane matchup possible. But for now, banning away top laners.
Shen and the Aatrox both taken off the board, and I think it's going to be interesting to see what G2 Esports do with the rest of their draft, because as you mentioned already, TF probably going to struggle against Lucian early on. Kai'Sa very much outranged by the Caitlyn, so already 2 lanes that we expect to fall behind and pressure. Now the support matchup could change that. but a lot will come down to what G2 Esports want to pick when they get their final rotation here. Remember, Misfits with red side will have the final counter pick.
Yeah, I think it's probably a Sion there. The bans are quite interesting for Misfits. They banned away Shen and Aatrox, which Wunder hasn't played a single time this split. It's not to say that he can't play them, but they must be targeted bans at looking at something, and I think there are two champions that do well into Sion, so I think that's why Misfits have opted for the Sion pick. G2 banning away Lux because they don't want to invest a Sion ban. It's probably not needed. Wunder probably has an answer to it anyway. And now we're looking at what support VandeR wants to pick up to counter the bot matchup of G2.
Excellent read on the situation, Caedrel, to call the Sion pick so far in advance. Now set up for HiRit, and I love HiRit on anything tanky. He has been such a rock for this Misfits lineup. So having on something that can be reliable, that can scale up and be this excellent front lineup that you need is a big deal. That said, we're now going to see the rest of G2 Esports competition. We've got a Nautilus that's a lot of engage and potentially kill pressure on the bottom side when level 6s start to roll around.
I'm a bit scared for Misfits if they go for a range spot here. If they pick something like the Karma or the Seraphine, Nautilus, TF, Kai'Sa, Hecarim is going to be really, really dangerous for a range spot. I would love to see something like a Braum perhaps, or maybe a Leona, just something that can match the melee support. Yes, it's not that good for Caitlyn, but they've taken away the Karma, so now Wunder's gone for the Karma top into Sion, which is a winning matchup. So G2 a 5-headed Misfits draft. I wonder what they're going to pick up in support here. I think Seraphine's a bit risky. I think they need to pick a melee support to match it, but G2, they're playing into bot.
But okay, actually, we'll wait on the Karma pick, because I need to know more about this lane matchup. For now, though, it looks like the Braum that you called out is going to be picked up here, so a lot of synergy, especially when you look at the Caitlyn and the Lucian, who can rack up those concussive blow stacks very quickly, maybe a way to peel off some of these threats. But again, you mentioned it already, Caedrel, we've got a Kai'Sa, we've got a Nautilus, we've got a Hecarim. If you CC one target, another target is going to be in your backline in an instant, and on top of that, they're going to be shielded up, they're going to have that movement speed steroid all coming in from the Karma top.
Yeah, smart pivot from Misfits. They have Lucian, Caitlyn. They don't need to go for a range support, because then you're playing 4 range champs into Kai'Sa, Nautilus, TF, Hecarim. You need something to get in their face and stop them from getting onto your backline. The Braum's a good answer into TF, wins against Nautilus in lane, so Misfits still have a winning bot, but it's not as effective as they had a range support. The Caitlyn won't be able to get the plates, but they still have a good bot matchup. So across the board, we're looking at heavy prio for Misfits on the mid and the bot side, and probably in the jungle too in the early stages, but G2 have a winning top matchup, so Sion's probably on the tower. We'll have to see how Misfits play out this winning early game comp against G2.
Time to find out if Misfits are up to the task. It is G2 Esports versus Misfits Gaming.
Misfits moving 5-man into the bot push. They might be looking to catch out Mikyx here, but I think they want to take control of bot lane. We saw Fnatic doing last game. They put a ward in the brush, makes it so it's easier for a bot matchup, but they haven't placed a ward. Mickey might get hit by the Braum.
Spotted out. Oh, we spotted that a little bit too late. He might have to burn the flash here now. Can he not hook out to safety? That's 3 stacks and 4. Flashing over the wall. Good. No follow-up from Misfits, but that is a not with a flash down early game.
Yeah, we know Braum is such a strong level 1 champion, so Misfits aren't done here. Looks like they might want to split the map bot side, which would make a lot of sense, especially seeing as you've got Sion into Karma. There's really nothing Razork can do there. I think Misfits get the ward as well. So, G2, how do they retake this? They have a Hecarim, Karma's on the top side. It's going to be really hard for them to retake this. Misfits could split the map bot side if they want, have the mid prio, have the bot prio, play into their win condition, and shut down G2's options in the bot 3v3.
And Caedrel, I love this call because let's take a look at how G2 drafted. First pick, the Kai'Sa. What do they do to make sure their bot lane is set up for success? They take away the Karma and they put it top lane. They've invested so much in making sure that their bot lane can be successful when you add this level 1 into the picture. And now the question is, can Rekkles weather the storm? Can Mikyx weather the storm? Because yesterday, Mickey didn't even lane. Mickey went mid every opportunity he got to support Caps. Part of the reason he put up such big numbers. But now we see Rekkles and Mikyx feeling confident, but that's 2 autos going to move in. The 4th auto now coming. That's a stunned Rekkles. Good damage coming in. Aftershock's going to fade away in a moment. Mickey's going to take some decent damage on the back end of this one, and already a difficult early lane phase for the side of G2. Rekkles getting 2 Acathian Reigns off is solid, but still brutal.
This is huge for Misfits. They chunked out G2's bot lane on a split map, and maybe you might not have noticed it there, but Misfits were auto-attacking in range of creeps. They got XP on the wave, but G2 didn't. Look at Rekkles. He has absolutely 0 experience so far because he didn't get the first 3 melees, whereas Misfits did. So they can stack a bot wave. Lillia's on the bot side, Krug's level 3. I think they're going to have to invest some TPs to cover this bot dive, because Misfits could just push this in on the 3rd wave and look to punish G2. Mickey has no flash. G2 can't even step up. They're not even close to level 2. They're going to be level 1 on this 3-man dive.
Misfits, again, we asked, are they up to the task? If they can pull off this dive, it would be massive for the early game, but instead, Razork's going to back away, setting for going over to his own side. It's a split map now at this stage, and for now, they're going to survive as Caps and Vetheo trade back and forth.
Yeah, Razork has a little bit of time. It's still a cannon wave on the bot side, but Misfits should definitely do something on this bot wave. They can force TPs, they can force sums. They look for their hook. VandeR does get chunked out a bit, but Mikyx loses even more HP. And I think they could have locked for a dive, but it looks like they're not going to go for it, Drakos.
And frankly, when we look at this, we've seen in the last few games, we saw the Kobbe Ezreal games, the Karma's backing him up, a solid but rather uneventful Misfits early game in a lot of the matches that we saw last week. But this time around, the pressure is on for the Misfits bottom lane to get some work done with this Caitlyn Braum combo.
Yeah, it's not going to get any better for the G2 bot lane. When you're against a Caitlyn on a split map, it's really hard to trade into them, especially with a winning support matchup. Yes, Wunder will be able to start push in the top lane, but HiRit won't lose much. Vetheo's already moving down. Razork's almost done with his full clear. And now the thing is, Jankos can't actually stop this because you're Hecarim, you're level 1 when they invade against the Braum Caitlyn. It's impossible to answer, so it's not like Jankos can bail out his bot lane. Yes, he could base and go towards bot side now, but G2 are going to have to back off here. I think they can't stay for another wave because they're going to get dove.
This is brutal. Already a 7 CS deficit from Rekkles. You can see how far behind they are in experience as well. Going to potentially give up another wave, as you mentioned here already. Things are going to go from bad to worse very quickly as Razork just freely getting to roam through. He's going to contest this Raptor spawn, and Jankos, he's just trying to steal this one away, but he has no business being here. This is a big risk.
Looks like he's fine. Misfits don't have enough CC to stop him. He has the Ghost to run away as well, so smart by Razork to try to defend his Raptor respawn, knowing Jankos started there, but Jankos already there, has the smite, picks him up. So now Razork has to go to Jankos' Raptors to pick them up, and the map will stay split. But Jankos might want to stop that, but VandeR's around, Mikyx's on the way. Looks like it might be a 3v3 for the Raptors, but they have Braum Lucian, so if Misfits play this well, they should have the advantage. Mikyx?
He's only level 2 though. The CC, the first auto going to connect with VandeR. If he gets a stack here, that's going to be slow coming in. Mikyx going to hook his way out to safety, but unless they can collapse flawlessly and take out a single member of Misfits, they just do not have the stats necessary to win that fight.
Yeah, Razork doesn't have the smite, and Rekkles can move up if he wants to. VandeR still needs to base, because Mikyx has. So Misfits dropped a little bit of bot lane tempo here from Razork, moving around the map, trying to deny camps. Won't be the end of the world for them. They should be able to get back this bot wave in time, but G2 have freed up a lot more than they should have, in my opinion. I think they should have got dove early. They should have lost a lot more than they have, and they're kind of back in it now. So Rekkles and Mikyx will be able to crash this wave. VandeR won't be there in time to freeze it. So Misfits have lost this early game advantage that they had on the bot side, and the map is unsplit. Look at Jankos on the bot side of the map, Razork on the top side. The game is back into an even state.
Such a good call out. And that's the pressure of playing a lane like this, of playing a lane with the Caitlyn in it, is that you have to sustain that advantage. You have to keep pushing when you are powerful in that early game. The fact that the Kai'Sa and Nautilus are sitting more comfortably now is a big deal, because when level 6s roll around, the semi-global, or long-range ult threat of the Kai'Sa combined with the CC of the Nautilus is going to be devastating to play against. Caitlyn will never be able to walk alone on the map.
Yeah, Misfits' draft and their creativity at the level 1 has been impressive. I mean, winning against G2 would be huge for them in the standings in the playoffs race. If they can get this win, they would be sitting on 7. They'd be ahead of the competitives that they're against, but I mean, the early game's been pretty good. HiRit's been farming up on the weak side, so things are looking good for Misfits. If they can win this game, the standings will be shaken up, and Schalke will have to find some kind of miracle, because Misfits being a win ahead, they can claim the 6th spot if they have more wins the weekend after.
And again, we're in a situation where playoffs right now, getting into playoffs is starting to look less and less competitive if Misfits find a win here, but the seeding in playoffs is getting more and more competitive. As SK lost to Fnatic earlier today, it is a very tight playoff race. Schalke going to look for that miracle, like you mentioned, to turn things around, but for now, if they get a buffer, if they get a win buffer against G2 Esports, that is something that Misfits themselves probably don't even anticipate heading into this game.
Yeah, if they get the win, it would be huge, and to get the win, they need to be proactive. Look at the map, they're stacking bot waves. Vetheo and Razork are hovering towards the bot side. They have a winning mid jungle, they have a winning bot matchup. We said it in draft, but they have to snowball it. They're only 300 gold up right now. Razork will get the 3rd grab respawn, but they need to find more. Drakes, push into towers, swap with tempo for Herald, try to find ways that you can pick and prod at this G2 comp to get ahead, because right now, G2, they have top TP on Wunder. Here it doesn't have TP. Caps has the ult to match bot side. Vetheo does have the TP for bot, so all in all, G2 could send 5 members into a bot play, whereas Misfits can only send 4. So they need to find another way to try cracking up this game. But yes, Kobbe's had 20 CS, he's getting platings, but they need to find more than that.
They definitely do. Of course, on the top side, Wunder's building an advantage of his own. It's Sion versus Karma. There's not going to be a lot of action here. It's just going to be a battle of, can Sion's Q clear the wave as fast as Karma can push it in with her Q, to be quite honest. But we'll see how those champions impact the team fight as we move later into the game. For now, though, bot lanes remain the focus as Misfits still hold the advantage here. The goal being even at this point is not a matter of this bot lane, still finding Kobbe very far ahead.
Yeah, Mikyx was looking for an engage onto Kobbe there because VandeR went to ward, and we saw in like week 1, week 2, Kobbe on the Vayne getting caught out when his support went to ward. Good identification there to back up. Plays respectfully and now can start pushing in these bot waves again, but G2, they keep finding room to breathe where Razork's on the top side, Jankos on the bot side of the map. It gives G2 room to actually weather the storm in this bot matchup, push in waves, find bases, and not get chunked out too hard. They've only lost one plating on the split map, and they've only down about 10-15 CS, but G2 have the top TP, they have the TF ult on Caps too.
Hook gonna go in. Not going to overcommit to the play, though. Just the Unbreakable thrown out. Double traps laid down by Kobbe. Jankos can come in at a moment's notice, however, with the ultimate. If Mikyx does manage to land the hook, there's no Braum Unbreakable for a few moments. But TP now coming in. They're stepping aside to the Jankos. But Kobbe now in trouble because that is an unstoppable pony rampaging through the knockback. One more stack of the rampage. But Jankos can't get anything else done with the Q. Instead, they're going to turn onto the Lucian. Vetheo has overstayed his welcome. The collapse comes in for G2, and it's a 1-for-1 in the end.
Should be worth it for Misfits if they can catch this bot wave. G2 should identify that they need to deny this bot wave, stop Kobbe from taking it. Looks like they might just back off though, so in all, a win trade for Misfits, I'd say. They get the first blood on Vetheo. Yes, Rekkles gets a kill, but first blood on Lucian is huge. He won't lose too much in mid because Caps running mid right now on the minimap. By the time he crashes this wave, I think Vetheo should be there in time because it's a cannon wave. So, all in all, net game for Misfits.
We'll get a chance to look back at that one shortly, I'm sure, but very, very close, very tense fight. Again, G2 trying to find these small windows of opportunity where they can get out from the hole of laning against a Caitlyn, and well spotted, but Misfits were the one to start the play. Yeah,
good TP behind because they're winning the 2v2, but Jankos couldn't finish off Kobbe. If he got this kill, I think G2 could have found a lot more. Kobbe lives on 1 HP, but Vetheo trading the 1-for-1 means that the fight kind of ends because Kobbe is way too far back for G2 to impact. Caps ulting to where Vetheo TP'd, making sure he can protect the Rekkles. And Wunder didn't actually use his TP in that play because I think HiRit was in a position to cancel him. So in all, a 4v4. We could have expected a 5v4. But look at VandeR moving towards the top side, has a lot of tempo with his jungler. They're first on the map. HiRit's moving down as well. And their champions are so good at skirmishing in the early game. Braum, Lucian, Sion, these champs are so strong early. But as the game progresses, they fall off.
And I think when we look at it, one member that we have to keep our eyes on is Vetheo. We often forget what it's like, the pressure of laning against a player like Caps. Veteo's been rising up to the challenge. As we see the fight start to break out, keep your eyes on the Lucian. What can he get done? Mikyx in the middle of the entire team. Gold card does go down onto the very squishy Razork, but Razork's going to be able to back away. Mikyx is dropped. Vetheo can just sidestep out over the wall, and all things considered, turns out pretty good, considering that Razork did manage to get the Herald.
Yeah, G2 taking a fight 3v4 there. They end up losing Mikyx. Kobbe versus Wunder. Wunder has the flash, Kobbe has no sums. I think Kobbe might go down here if Wunder plays it correctly, but Kobbe, so much damage on the Caitlyn. Has the boots as well, so it's hard for Wunder to keep up. And like we said, Misfits' comp is so strong and early. Eventually the Sion will scale to be super tanky. If Lucian can get ahead, he will be strong in the later stages of the game, but he needs to find leads. He did get first blood. Looks like Misfits have Herald. I'd love to see that placed either on the bot tower or the mid tower to crack open your AD carry or your mid lane.
And Misfits finally finding the gold advantage that they've been looking for. It's only going to grow as the Herald does drop soon. We'll see where Razork wants to place it, but that's going to be VandeR getting caught out. Unbreakable there. He can try to leap back to safety. The ultimate coming out, but he is going to get burned down. Jankos going to back away. The fear knocking Vetheo away, but G2 gets a kill for free.
Yeah, VandeR standing up way too far. Mikyx just hooks him, says, what's this guy doing? Let's kill him. They find the kill. VandeR didn't have the jump away to protect himself. Even if he did, Jankos could follow with the ultimate. So G2 find a pick, and look at Rekkles hitting onto this top tower. Razork hit the... Might look for the ult. No, doesn't decide to go for it. But Misfits have kind of dropped pressure on the map.
Making into the tower, lucky enough to be tanky. And this is so crazy, Caedrel, because we see Misfits with a good plan, a good level 1. They get a little bit of a lead bot lane. It falls apart because G2 find singular opportunities. They get the Herald. Again, things looking pretty good for them. Another pick onto VandeR. G2 just keep finding these ways to even up the gold when it feels like Misfits should be the ones in control right now.
Yeah, Misfits dropped the ball there for a couple minutes after the Herald. They were so far down in tempo. G2 warded their whole top side. Were able to find a pick, but look, Misfits have regained control. VandeR's back on the map. Razork's on the bot side with him. 3 platings left on this tower. I think Misfits should be able to pick up the first tower of the game here. HiRit's based. He has the TP. Caps has the ult though, so G2 might look for something. It will be a numbers advantage if G2 commit globals. There's the TP.
Last plate is so tanky. Kobbe's going to stick around for it for a little while, but that is going to be the TP now coming in. Wunder off to the side, but it's just going to be a little Sion all on his lonesome, getting picked apart, but maybe they try to double down on this one. HiRit is going to go into zombie mode, but Misfits decide instead to back off, to give up the kill, and at the end of the day, a very questionable TP.
Just like we talked about, when one member of Misfits doesn't have TP, G2 can always have number advantage with the TF ultimate and with Wunder's TP. Now, it might have looked in from HiRit, but I think Kobbe might have died if he didn't do that because G2 instantly turned on the TP, realized he had a free kill, whereas Kobbe would have been a lot harder, but they're choosing this push. Rekkles gets hit by the Q.
That's going to be the Q. 2 more autos. That's all it's going to take. They're going to back away. Razork still with the ultimate up and available, but for now it is the Dragon for G2. Misfits really not in a position to contest this. Razork can go for the steal, but he will give his life. A quick sidestep, though. It's going to be a big deal. He has been slowed. He has been locked up. He's going to try to put them to sleep, but it's only Mikyx that's been hit. He's now trying to get out, but he's just getting torn to pieces. Wunder coming in on the backside of the play. VandeR and Kobbe forced to retreat. It is all good for G2 Esports.
Yeah, another mistake by Misfits there. First VandeR, and now Razork walking up. Disadvantage numbers. TP comes in. He gets punished for trying to walk up and trying to find some kind of steal. And yeah, Misfits getting punished, getting picked off, and they did try to make a pick onto Rekkles. They managed to get his flash. Kobbe and VandeR at the time didn't have flash to follow. And in the end, they end up losing Razork, they lose the Drake, and now Wunder's going to go back topside to catch this wave, which HiRit wasn't able to push out because he TP'd, he matched, and he died on the numbers disadvantage.
And Caedrel, one thing I want to talk about, and this is going to feel weird in a game where Caps has been relatively quiet, but I want to talk a little bit about Caps' performance yesterday, because yesterday he was an absolute monster on the Lucian. He was supported by his team to do so, but I think this is the thing that's so scary. This game, Caps is quiet. Caps is roaming, Caps' scoreline, it's not going to look very pretty, but this is the threat of playing against G2, is that one game, this is Caps. The next game, it's Rekkles on the bottom side, or it's Wunder on the top side. This is one of the few threats and one of the few teams in our league where every single player can carry when given the champion and the resources to do so. So yesterday was Caps' day, but today, 1-0-1 for Rekkles, 2-0-1 for Jankos. Either one of these players can step up and carry the game.
Yeah, you can just see it in this game itself. Even when I was playing against G2 over the last few years, no matter where you invest resources to shut one member of G2 down, they invest resources on the opposite side, and you still have to deal with a superstar player in that role, right? So, yeah, I mean, G2 is such a dominant team over the last few years, superstars across the board. And like you said, no matter where you invest resources, no matter who's not popping off and carrying, someone else will step up. So Caps has been a little bit quiet, but Jankos definitely stepping up. Rekkles doing well. Vetheo gets hit by the hook.
Now Mikyx going to back off. Aftershock falling away. Keep your eyes on the tumble seed. Is not going to connect. Caitlyn ult now coming in from downtown. Slow won't connect, and Mikyx just waddling his big butt out of there. Nautilus going to be fine in the end on that one.
Yeah. If you look across the board, they might, well, hang on, Jankos might look for a play. Caps has the flash if he wants to make this engage happen. Jankos has ult too. Hook,
he's gonna hook. Mikyx now gonna back off. Aftershock procced again. He's gonna use the shielding. They're just gonna retreat, getting yet another ultimate for Misfits. Again, slowly chipping away here from the side of G2 Esports.
Yeah, so much fighting in this bot side. Even when Kobbe and VandeR have left after taking the tower, Vetheo trying to push in waves, G2 trying to punish on the bot side of the map because Wunder is playing the Karma. It's hard to impact his lane against the Sion. You expect all the fighting to be down here. And Misfits do disengage the hook. And like I was going to say, Vetheo, HiRit coming into the LEC. 2021 spring is their first season in the LEC, but they're up against Caps and Wunder, who have been playing for so long in the LEC. These veteran players, Jankos as well. So much experience on the side of G2, and it shows when it comes to making the picks, catching out Misfits.
Overall, when we looked at the numbers, Caedrel, it's crazy. Because in the bot lane, it's Kobbe and VandeR. You know, these guys are veterans. They're super experienced. But on the top side, the difference between these two teams is astounding. Now, I won't make you do the quick math. That is more than 1,000 games for G2's top side. That is less than 100 for the Misfits lineup. And you can see it paying off now as the top side collapses and absolutely demolishes Vetheo for overstepping for just a millisecond.
Yeah, G2 just punishing the side lane. The only real side lane pressure Misfits has is Vetheo on this Lucian. But G2 are collapsing as much as they can. Doesn't matter who you match into the side of Vetheo. Just make sure we put numbers advantages, drop waves in bot, give up a little bit of mid-prio, put a number advantage in the top. And Vetheo does end up dying, will lose his tower as well. So G2 playing so well around what the enemy win condition is. You see lots of teams, lots of pro teams play to their win conditions, but they're actually playing to deny Misfits their win condition in Vetheo on the side lane.
And I think the big thing to consider too, when we look across the itemization and the compositions, is that Lucian getting put behind it all is a big deal. Similar for the Caitlyn, because Hecarim, he's building full tank. He's got a chem tank, he's got a phase rush. All of his damage is coming from his passive. That said, he'll still one-shot these AD carries, but in the meantime, they're not going to do any damage to him if he continues to build a lead, and they continue to get put behind. That said, set it for the Herald. 16 minutes into the game, no tower plates, but still a crucial objective. Mikyx walking in, Misfits pulling back. They do not have a man advantage here. It is a 4v5 right now. Unstoppable coming in. Mikyx has now been locked up. Wunder on the side, they're providing a lot of shielding. There is no damage, there is no follow, but Caps has been caught out. Forced to flash out to safety. Misfits committing a lot here. Coleman comes in, but Vetheo gets hooked, and it's instantly Rekkles in the midst of the entire team. Jankos ready to keep things going. The knockup going to come in, but it's going to be denied by the gold card. HiRit can get nothing done. Into Zombie Sion, maybe a bit of damage. He's snared up, he's locked down, but again, G2 find a winning fight.
You can see G2 find the openings perfectly. Vetheo dash short 1 millisecond too far, instantly gets hooked, gets killed, and from there, G2 win the fight. They commit all their numbers. Jankos ults in, Rekkles ults in, and Misfits have to back away. They lose 3 members. Looks like they're going to lose mid-tier 1 as well. Caps looking for the stun onto VandeR. The root does connect, but it looks like he's too far away. Kobbe has the heal as well. And G2, they pick up the objective in the Herald. They're going to pick up mid-tier 1. I think this Herald's going to be able to help them get mid-tier 2, but staying for too long could be dangerous. They might just want to make it crash and then set up for the Dragon, which has just spawned.
And 60 seconds ago, maybe 2 minutes ago, we were at dead even gold, Caedrel. Now it's almost a 3K gold lead in favor of G2. When you look back at this one, you start to see the power of G2's composition coming together.
Yeah, it's a tough fight for G2 because their carries are split away from the traps, and this ultimate makes Caps have to flash over the wall. Rekkles is split, so he does have the ultimate, has the blast cone to join. Vetheo dashing forward, getting hit by the hook. And if your carry gets hit by a hook in a team fight like this, the fight's just over from there. Razork gets hit by the Nautilus ultimate, Rekkles ults in, and G2 are clumped up as 5, which is what they need, it's what they want. Their carries are split off at the start, they eventually grouped up, and that just shows how good of a team G2 is when it comes to team fights and coordination.
Yeah, shout out to Jankos for hitting the 3-man ulti on that one, and so often it feels like HiRit, even with no items, this Sion can be a damage threat, can be a threat to your back line, but G2, with this Karma on their lineup, the shield just takes away any potential damage threat that HiRit could have for finding that initial engage with the ultimate. It just means that it's so hard for Misfits to pick single members off. But now, Rekkles potentially in trouble. He's going to go invisible. One stack of the concussive blows, the rest of the team is going to back away though. Happy just to get the TP for now.
I like what Misfits are doing. They're just grouping up as 5, trying to find a fight. The Dragon's up. If Vetheo went towards the top side, G2 could take full bot side vision. It'll be really hard for them to take a fight. So, Misfits contesting mid waves as 5. Look at HiRit on the side. He might try to find some kind of ultimate or Q.
Big Q, big stun, but not big damage. Shield coming in means there's really no room for follow-up. Rekkles could be put to sleep here, but they're going to wait for the Dream Dust to fall away. Misfits with no room to follow up. They're going to walk through that pinch if they want to commit to this, but Mikyx ready at a moment's notice to throw out that hook.
Yeah, look at what Caps is doing. He's going towards the bot side. He might want to try and push in some waves to deny Misfits some farm because they're grouped up as 5. G2 looks like they have full control of this Dragon. Misfits pushing in mid. Maybe they can trade mid-tier 1 for the Drake, but here it's on the side. He can collapse onto G2. Wunder's quite fast, so not many shields for G2. The Drowsy's coming in.
Sleep going in on just the Nautilus, however. They're going to find the follow-up, they're going to find the knockup. Mikyx will go down, so a good pick for Misfits, but a single kill traded for the Cloud Drake.
Yeah, good play from HiRit there. I don't think G2 knew where he was. They found the pick, they get a kill, but in the end, G2 pick up the Dragon, and they're going to be able to push out these waves. And Wunder being split off there meant G2 had no shields. And like we saw earlier, the full charge Q from the Sion onto the full tank Hecarim won't really do much. On top of shields as well, Misfits have a lot of front line to get through. And G2 just playing the map so well, picking up their second Dragon, Ocean Soul. They should be able to have that by 29-30 minutes. And Misfits have to respond.
And this is just a very hard game for Misfits at this point because it's difficult to find those picks. You see, they burned most of their cooldowns, and they were able to kill Mikyx, but I don't think they would have been able to kill Jankos or Wunder or even Caps in that exchange, and it's only going to get more difficult as the game goes on.
Yeah, Vetheo is just so far behind on this Lucian. He just hit level 12 when Caps is level 13. And that's not what you want when your Lucian is supposed to be winning the side and giving you so much resources and pressure to be able to move towards mid, to help out the Caitlyn, to move and push out mid. But there's really nothing they can do once the Lucian is behind. The whole map just kind of falls apart. Both side laners of G2 in the Karma and the TF should win against him, and Jankos can always match, so the 2v2s will be in their favor. And they have globals as well, just in case they need them.
Now Jankos has a Randuin's, which means that a lot of Lucian's damage, a lot of Caitlyn's damage is going to be mitigated. In the meantime, you can see Zeal item coming in for Kobbe. That means there's not a Lord Dominix in the near future. Similarly, Lucian's going to work towards the Kraken Slayer. Yeah, that's true damage. Yeah, it's going to feel pretty good, but it's still going to take a year to kill Jankos with Kraken Slayer procs. He has so much health, he has so much resistance to crits. He's going to lower the base damage too of weaker auto attacks coming in from the Lucian passive. This is very, very hard for them to play out a fight on even terms ever. Maybe if they find a pick, they can find a man advantage and win a fight, but Misfits certainly are going to be fighting from a deficit for pretty much the foreseeable future. Third, maybe fourth items it starts to shift back, but for now this tank Hecarim is unkillable.
Yeah, and that's the problem when you run these double AD compositions with the AD mid and the AP jungle. You're relying so much on your jungler to get ahead that he provides enough AP damage to merit the early game advantages you can get. But in this case, Misfits, they've lost the early game. They're down almost 3.5, almost 4,000 gold, and the only AP damage they really have is Razork on this Lillia, but he's not very far ahead. He won't be able to pump out as much as Rekkles ult into HiRit.
And HiRit's been locked out. They need to body block his ultimate if it is going to come in. The flash away, the TP now committed. HiRit still with his ultimate. Maybe they could try to turn, but Caps, they've already picked Razork off on the side. That's the last source of magic damage. Pretty easy fight as long as they can sidestep. Gale Force away. HiRit's going to be frustrated with that one, but in the meantime, Mikyx's going to be the one in trouble. Mikyx's going to be the one picked off, but it's Jankos on the backside with the 3-man fear. Looking to keep the fight going, but still, they're trying to call him down. 3 stacks 4. He has been locked up. He has been stunned down. Maybe it's enough, but Vetheo's getting picked up on the side. They have shut down the Hecarim. The money goes to VandeR, but at the end of the day, it's still a positive for Misfits.
Yeah, Misfits find a kill, even though Razork got caught out at the start of the fight. They do manage to turn the engage that G2 chose. Mikyx's going in.
VandeR blocking so much of the damage. Where's the follow-up from G2? This could be disastrous. Rekkles has no mana, though. No spells, no Acathian Rains. Maybe he's got one more in him. Wunder throwing down the poke there with the inner fire. Caps collapsing. G2 ready to take this tier 1. Misfits need to give this one up.
Yeah, G2 have so much utility in these fights. The shields, the double Everfrost, the stuns, the fears. They have so much utility to actually peel back or engage. So you can see G2 can always choose to fight first. And they did choose to fight on bot. And they picked off Razork at the same time. They did end up losing in a 1-for-1. But I think that just comes down to the fact that G2 over chasing on the tier 1s, diving, taking turret shots, and G2 was just way too split to follow up on Jankos' good engage. Even though he did get exhausted on the fear, it looked like he didn't do too much damage. But G2 still have a 3,500 gold lead. They're coming back out on the map, and you can see how tanky Jankos was. It took 3 members to take him down.
Yeah.
It took so long as well.
Jankos has been incredibly impactful, and you can see in the gold as well that he's just a little bit ahead of the matchup. But of course, the experience also going to be pretty massive. Level advantage for him too. The tanky items means it's so hard for Misfits to take him down. But again, Caedrel, I want to shift our attention back to the stakes, to the standings. Never mind, we're going to turn our attention to Caps just trying to one-shot Vetheo. The leap in, the gold card into the snare. HiRit going to look for a response, but you do not have the damage to get through this Karma. He is just getting shredded into nothing, waiting for that Collector proc to come through. Rekkles now on a killing spree.
Yeah, Caps is winning the side lane. Vetheo is the win condition for Misfits. He needs resources, he needs to push outsides and win. But he's 1 on the Lucian. He's 2 levels down to Caps. Caps ulted on him and solo killed him in a losing matchup, but Caps is just way too far ahead for Vetheo to be able to answer now. Misfits, the time's running out, the early game's running out. I think G2 are running away with this game, grouping up 1-4. They're winning everywhere. Jankos is farming top waves. They're all getting so strong and so tanky, so many shields. And look at Caps' level, almost level 15. Vetheo is almost level 13, so still 2 levels down.
It's absolutely brutal. And again, Caedrel, the thing that I want to talk about with this G2 lineup is that I want you to think back to all the other splits we've had with this G2 team since the start of LEC, essentially. Normally, they were not try-harding in every single game like their life depended on it. This is usually the point of the split where we'd start to see experimentation, but this G2, this split, has been unrelenting. It feels like they treat every single game like they have to win it. Like it is do or die. And now there are some moments where they absolutely grief it in game. Don't get me wrong, every team makes mistakes or has their moments. But in the past, we would not see G2 just bleed a team out like this. They are not taking any risks. They are just collapsing when they have ban advantage. They're making so few mistakes, and this is unrelenting pressure for Misfits to deal with because Vetheo, he oversteps for a second. The full tank Hecarim takes 70% of his health with 2 abilities, and Caps isn't even going to get an assist. My God, that is a powerful pony. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Rekkles now collapsing. Misfits finding a pick back, but Caps ready to set up on the side with a stun card. VandeR in no position to body block. Mikyx getting done what he can. That's going to be the knock up on the Kobbe. Rekkles coming in the meantime. That is a ghosting Jankos. That is Rekkles leaping forward. The body block comes in from VandeR to save his AD carry, but he cannot stop the pony from rampaging through. The shutdown onto Caps. The double kill comes in for him in the end, and HiRit left a zombie to try to get some mid lane pressure back as G2 can turn to the Baron.
That'll be Baron, and G2 find 2 fights at the same time. They win the one on top. Caps ults mid. Still a number disadvantage for Misfits because of the globals, and G2, like you said, they're just in form. They're playing this split out so well. There's not much trolling, there's not much differentiation in picks. They're playing such hard to execute comps. They're executing them perfectly. And as they engage in mid, they engage in top at the same time. Misfits stepping up way too far. Here it goes for the engage. Mikyx manages to disengage it, and by the time that he disengages, he buys enough time for Caps. Look how much work Caps does on his backside. He has a rapid fire, he has Everfrost, he's a supportive TF, but because he's so far ahead, he can just stall for so long, and he can just kite around. Look how much damage he does, has the stopwatch too. Just so well played by Caps.
Follow-up comes in from Jankos as well, and it's clean. Mat movement across, and I love to see when teams will start a fight anticipating the amount of time it will take for their remaining members to get there. You know what I mean? Knowing that Jankos will come in on the backside of the fight, knowing that he'll come in and clean up, because for so long, we watch League of Legends as teams, they group up, they look at each other in the mid lane, and they fight 5v5. When teams are willing to play these scattered, broken up fights, it gives me so much more confidence in their team fighting ability. It reminds me so much of like EDG in their prime from the LPL, and when I get to compare G2 from an LPL team, that's a positive step for a team that is mostly looking at international for the big competition moments.
Yeah, definitely right. Such hard to execute comps. They play so well around timings, engages. They're always there for the fights. And Vetheo getting caught out at the start of the play meant that Misfits had a numbers disadvantage on the play. And Vetheo was getting caught out a lot in the first couple of weeks on the side lanes. He did manage to clean it up around week 5, week 6. But now against G2, feels like he's fallen to his old kind of habits, getting caught out. G2 just collapsing so well over sides, identifying how to play the game so well. Now they're in this 1-3-1. Wunder has TP, Caps has ult, and Caps is 3 levels up on Vetheo. He can't match him on side lane.
9 stacks on the Medjais, the Caps we've come to expect. And for the side of Misfits, you're right, it has been such a difficult game for Vetheo. And Vetheo, as you said, felt like he was getting better and better, and so much of that felt like it was because the team was playing more around him. This game for Misfits, though, was so much more about the bottom lane, so much of their setup about setting the bottom lane up for success. And while Vetheo was given a positive lane matchup, you can see that once we got into the mid game, there's just nowhere safe for him to farm.
Yeah. Wunder hitting onto this top tier 2. Now, I said it before, the first Baron is always good for tier 2 towers. So G2 crack open the top one, they push in the waves, and Misfits have to put numbers on certain lanes to stop them being able to push in. So Wunder pushes in top, now they'll send numbers top, and that's where G2 can take mid tower. So G2 playing so well around the Baron buff minions, and now Misfits are only defending their tier 3s. How are G2 going to crack this game open? They're going to look for a dive, and they're just going to play it smart with the globals. But it looks like they're going to have push on all 3 lanes. Misfits, if they want to find their way back into this game, they have to find a pick. But G2 is such a hard team to find a pick against because of how they're just the best team in Europe at this point.
It's also difficult because there's not really reliable immediate hard engage. Razork has to get something down to find a sleep. The Sion literally screams that he's coming at you when he ultimates, and now Caps is coming in instantaneously. Vetheo is going to back off in the end, but that's going to be the ultimate coming out from HiRit already. Mikyx and the rest of G2 now retreating, but that is the 2-man sleep. Maybe that is enough to get the fight kicked off. VandeR going to fall up with the immediate stun, but the body block comes in from Mikyx to stop the follow-up. And in the meantime, Jankos is in the backside, rampaging across the entire lineup, but he is going to give his life. He is going to get cut down, and that is hope for Misfits. They will hold on to their inhibitor line.
Yeah, Jankos' engage was crucial, otherwise Misfits will be able to step forwards and get onto the back line of G2. So Jankos sacrificing himself there a bit. I think he thought that he had some more engage tools and he had more members behind him, but Rekkles couldn't hold into that fight. And in the end, Misfits pick up a kill. You saw Misfits, they moved 5 members to the bot side to try and catch out Jankos, and then Caps ulted top to try and find a pick on Vetheo, but they collapse in time. Misfits find a kill. G2 are going to have to back off.
40 seconds, Caedrel, to the next big fight.
Ocean Soul.
Ocean Soul for G2 feels like that's the final nail in the coffin if they do manage to get it. Now, the good news for G2, there's a ton of ability haste on Jankos. He will have his ultimate back up and available. He can be clutch in the fight to come, but Misfits, you've got 3 items on the Caitlyn, you got 2.5 on the Lucian. Maybe, just maybe, it is enough to come out on top in this fight.
But this is a fight Misfits have to take. You can see all members moving mid. The TP coming in from Wunder to make sure he's there in time, pushing these waves. Whoever gets control of this dragon has an easier time to start the fight, but the TF ultimate's going to reveal all of Misfits, and now G2 can pick how they start the fight. Caps behind them, has the rapid fire.
Will they turn? VandeR holding on for now.
They get it.
Burn it down, they can walk away. Misfits need to retreat, but Miky's going to find the hook onto VandeR. That's going to be massive. He's going to throw up the Unbreakable, and he's going to block what he can, but Miky's already got the ult into the backside. Sion in the midst of the entire team. The sleep going down onto Caps. He's going to get woken up, not quite, by the Caitlyn. Razork can now collapse. The stun card coming in. Razork wants to finish the job, but he buys a bit more time with the stopwatch. Meanwhile, on the backside of the fight, Rekkles has taken down HiRit. Now it looks like Razork is next on the menu. Caps, how does he get out of that one? How did that not hit him? The Q! Caps does go down in the end. The shutdown now coming in. Jankos on the hunt. Wunder has the shields to back him up, but G2, they're just going to continue to push down mid lane. Rekkles might not have any mana, but he doesn't need it. It's 4 members strong from the G2 lineup, pushing in, collapsing on the mid lane, ready to end Misfits.
Yeah, G2 could look to end here. 30 seconds onto Razork, 20 seconds on HiRit. They could look for double inhibitor as well, which would also seal the deal for Misfits. They got the objective, they got the Drake. You have to question why HiRit went for the fight. They could have got out and bought themselves more time, but G2 end up getting this mid inhib. Doesn't look like they're going to push for more. But G2 did lose Caps off the back of the fight. Just a sliver of HP left. He loses the Magi stacks. But Misfits are holding on.
In Caedrel, this is a crazy fight across so many things. You got to talk to me about what matters.
Yeah, HiRit looks for the engage. It looks like Misfits have disengaged this. They can catch top wave, they can back off, but HiRit's the one that steps in, goes for the engage, and from there, the fight kicks off. I think Caps is the target for Misfits, and HiRit's the target for G2, so there's 2 split fights. Yes, Caps does end up dying to Razork's passive, and Misfits do lose 2 members, but they hold on. Jankos chased them for so long, but Misfits eventually run out. They catch the waves, and all they end up losing in this fight is the mid inhibitor. But the crucial thing is they got the Drake, and they've stopped G2 from being able to pick up the soul. There's 3 minutes more on the clock.
Such a ludicrously close fight. That said, it's almost a 10k gold advantage for G2. The next Baron is surely theirs. 30 seconds again. Misfits has to be ready for fight after fight after fight. The fact that these objectives are staggered never gives them a chance for a break. Rekkles just dashing in. That's going to be the Gale Force. Instantly one-shots the AD carry, and he's not even going to have to trade his life for it. The entire team is there for him to make it out. He's a modern-day Houdini. Rekkles gets it done. The AD carry gone. one primary damage threat left in the form of Vetheo. Maybe Razork can step up and have a monster moment, but this surely should be the end for Misfits.
The waves are coming in. It's a 5v4. Misfits don't have as much wave clear without Kobbe, and they're so short range with Vetheo on the Lucian. There's no Sion ults from HiRit for the engage. VandeR has the ultimates to find it, but G2, they take top in him. They push in the waves. Looks like they're going to play it safe. Very surprising. G2 normally loves to look for these dives on the Nexus towers, but in this case, they're going to back off, keep their gold lead, avoid losing the shutdowns onto Rekkles, who's sitting on a 700 gold shutdown, 1,000 gold in total. No sums, no ultimate. A bit too risky. Let's just take the free Baron and then look to set up afterwards.
Wunder and Mikyx there to body block, there to deny anything that Misfits could look to get done. They've got a single blue trinket coming up slowly for Kobbe, but by the time it's there, it'll be too little too late. This is Baron for G2, and this should be it. It'll be one last desperate hold for Misfits, but if G2 find anything, if G2 find any advantage, any single kill, the game is done for Misfits.
Yeah, and you have to wonder, I mean, G2, wait, Caps pops the ult, he might look for a pick here. He gets full vision of the Misfits lineup, but G2 didn't go for the Nexus dives. They played it safe. They went for the Baron. What do you attribute that to? Do you attribute that to Rekkles joining the roster, Perks leaving it? It looks like the aggression in the late game and the flipping at the dives has kind of fallen off for G2, which can be a good thing, it can be a bad thing. But G2 have the Baron now. They're resetting up on the siege. Looks like bot tower is their focus because top and mid inhibitor down. Rekkles has gone down. He's pushing out that wave, has the ultimate up to join the fight. Misfits, finding a pick is so hard when G2's grouped up like this.
Most certainly is. Again, 10k lead. Even if they can't end it here, they've got Soul waiting for them in 1 minute and 30 seconds. Mickey fishing for the massive hooks, wants to hit a priority target as Wunder lays down a bit of poke. The shields as well coming in from the Karma will be massive.
Yeah, but the pressure point for G2 is top. Caps is pushing in the waves, he's buffing up the creeps. Misfits are on a timer. Either they stay here and Caps ends the game, or they try to stop Caps' push on top side and then give up their inhib. So it's a lose-lose situation. Just look for a fight.
Body block, the engage now coming in. Mickey, the knock up, the follow-up. Mickey now set to fall. The Karma shield's not nearly enough. It's Caps off to the side, but for now, Misfits have gotten a single pick at the cost of very little. Vetheo caught out and taking some decent damage. Pressure on the top lane, though. Misfits have to back off. Misfits have to pull away, and that means the bottom lane tower is in trouble. That could be the third inhibitor, but VandeR's holding on desperately. The Unbreakable, is it up? Is it available? Will it even be enough? Sleep onto Jankos, but unstoppable as he manages to make his escape. Wunder potentially going to get caught out here. The shielding coming in, the empowered tether coming in. Vetheo off to the side. Misfits holding on, but they're just getting chipped down. Misfits, barely. They have no reason surviving it, but here goes Vetheo. Wants to turn it. The stun comes out and denies him and distracts. It's 28 seconds till the Soul. Maybe, just maybe, Misfits can get this Dragon back. They can stop this win condition from coming in for G2. But that's Rekkles. He's in the midst of the entire team. He one-shots Vetheo. VandeR, though, going to try to buy time. That's 2. That's 3. He's looking for 4. Double kill. The auto. It commits. Rekkles goes down. Now they need to shift their attention. It's 12 seconds. Misfits do not get to stop. They do not get a chance to breathe because it's Ocean Soul on the line, and G2 are ready to take it from them.
5 seconds. Tick-tock for Misfits. It's a 3v3. Top waves are crashing. Wunder has TP. Caps has ult. They could get backdoored here. If they look for this Ocean Soul, they're in such a lose-lose position. Watch Caps, he's popping the ult.
Walking down mid lane, walking into top lane, it's the TP coming back. Can they cancel it? Meanwhile, in the pit, it's been denied. The hook coming in from Mickey, and not today. No glorious finish for you, Misfits. It is a classic EU backdoor. The creeps alive and well, the Baron buff empowering them, and Caps, he's gonna finish the job. It was dominance from start to finish for G2. What hope Misfits had left is cut down in the final moments.
Ooh, that game, even though G2 were so far ahead, it felt like Misfits were finding ways to hold on with the picks that they made. But in the end, the Ocean Soul was the nail in the coffin. They had to fight it. If they lost that, the game was all but over. But Caps finds the opening, he finds the backdoor. G2 find the win.
And that's the compounding effect of all the advantages that G2 built. Even when Misfits could find avenues in a single fight, in a single moment, G2 always had the global advantage. G2 always had that pressure across the map, and it's pays off in the end. And we talked about it, and I have to say it again, this is a G2 that is not to be messed with. This is a G2 that seems so calm and so measured, and even when they make a small mistake, it feels like they've always given themselves another way to win the game. This is not the G2 that trolls on stage. This is not the G2 that memes, or, I mean, they are trying crazy strategies. It just feels like a G2 team that is sweating for every single best of one win, which is something that I'm frankly just not used to seeing. That said, vote.
Key player of the game.
Jankos, Caps, Rekkles. There's a ton of options, but while we let you vote, we got to get ready because it's match of the week coming up. Rogue and Mad Lions. Don't go anywhere. You don't want to miss this one.
Lovely.
For me, after playing all this time, I never made the finals, and I feel like this is like my biggest chance to, like, you know, small goal make the finals, you know, and big goal obviously everyone wants to win LEC.
Now we are trying to play more aggressive because we want to like test our limits a bit, like even on stage. I think we are still trying to find our limiter, and then like we will be more consistent in the future.
Won't get any more damage now, but Kai'Sa's been stunned up, and there's the root, the blade caller straight through the heart of the XL bot lane. XL, oh, another stun. Patrick has the cleanse though, not quite enough damage there from Kai'Sa.
I think that both teams are constantly working to prove that they're the next generation and that they can finally take the title away from the two titans that have dominated for so long.
That was my foot. Wait, I can't find the switch. It's on your left? Wait, I got it. Oh god, that's not good. What did you do?
I wasn't supposed to leak that. Oh no.
No, wait, look, if we react quick enough, we can just pretend that we revealed it on purpose.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, go.
Damn it, just roll with it.
And let's bring the hype music.
LEC Finals, 10th and 11th of April. Tune in.
They are out there, waiting to be discovered. Some of them are big, and some of them are small. But that's the thing with ideas. They don't just come to you. To find them, you have to move. Kia, movement that inspires.
welcome back to the LEC. G2 takes another decisive victory, this time against Misfits. Rekkles, congratulations on the win, and thank you so much for making time for this interview.
Thank you so much, and thanks for having me as well.
Thank you. Your victory against Misfits today actually puts you on an 8-game winning streak, and overall, it's been a really, really great few weeks for G2, because you guys locked in for playoffs, you had a very, very one-sided game against Rogue, and you even took that revenge against Fnatic. But what can you tell me from first-person perspective on the overall momentum of your team? Like, how are you or G2 players feeling about G2's current trajectory?
I think we feel like it took some time to learn how to play together. For sure, it was easier than for some other teams because we only made one change, but one change is still a change after all. So I feel like we just needed some time to learn how to play together. And then now it's just been clicking for the last couple of weeks. We've been on the same page with everything we do, draft to play. So the wins are coming with it.
What were some moments in drafts or in game that you felt like, hey, this is clicking for you and Mikyx, for you and the rest of the teammates?
I guess for me and Mikyx in particular, it's been just trusting each other more. Like, for example, playing Senna lanes or me finding courage to play Kai'Sa again. I'm not the best Kai'Sa player and I don't have a lot of confidence with her, but I think for me and him in particular, we kind of like have come to a point now where we trust each other enough to play stuff we don't normally want to play maybe. So I think this gives us a strength for sure in the bot lane. We can play now a lot of things and even first time stuff on stage. So I think this is for sure a good thing. And for the team, I would say just having everyone be carry, depending on the game. Sometimes it's me, sometimes it's Cap, sometimes it's Wunder, sometimes it's even Jankos. Or Mikyx, I guess, if he's playing Sion. So just having the versatility as a team as well. I think this is something that we got over the split too.
Speaking of your growth within this new Team G2, in a recent post-game lobby, you said something very interesting that stuck with me, that now you are the new guy in the team, that perhaps there is a positive sentiment that goes along with the idea of not being the leader in your team, which I will say is a very mature self-reflection. Would you say this change in role has also unlocked you as a player and perhaps as a teammate? What can you tell me about this change?
I think for sure it has. I've never really been a good leader in the sense that I'm not the one taking the most space in the room, talking the most. I think this has just never been me. So I didn't really like the whole thing that happened in Fnatic where I kind of got forced into this position. I feel like after 2016, I should have been more strongly saying no to it, but it kind of happened naturally as well. So I don't regret anything in that sense either. It's just more, I feel like I'm much better off being the backbone for a team than the face. And in G2, I'm kind of naturally the backbone. Meanwhile, in Fnatic, I was kind of naturally the face. So I think it's just better for me this way because I can focus on my own play and just try to support my teammates as much as possible. Meanwhile, in Fnatic, I felt kind of forced to be the carry, which I think also took away some of my teammates' potential. I think they are probably better off actually without me in their team. So this whole thing has just been a win-win for everyone, I would say.
Not only speaking of players becoming carries in the game, but also outside the game, in that same PGL, you also implied that Jankos has perhaps picked that role up as being the oldest guy in the guy who has been around the longest within the team. Would you say that Jankos has taken up the mantle of being the leader in the G2, or is G2 just that democratic to not able to identify a single leader?
I think everyone brings their fair share of energy to the room, but for sure Jankos brings the most. I also think he's really good at making just like a early game plan for us to follow. So it's quite easy for the rest of us to play the first couple of minutes out, which are usually the most important anyways. The rest happens kind of automatically afterwards. So I think he's like really important for us actually to have a good early game. And to me, this is like the main guy in the team.
Okay, Rekkles, my final question is, in this interview, we talked about your growth and journey in G2, synergizing with Mikyx, synergizing with your teammates, and you picking up a new different role in a team. What kind of personal growth would you like to achieve between now and perhaps the end of the Spring Split or at the end of the 2021?
I think I would like to reach a point where I'm comfortable playing all champions in my role. I feel like this is one of the things that I was kind of hopeful for when I joined G2, that they would, I don't know, push me to some kind of state where I'm willing to play all AD carries, mages, maybe even more. I think, yeah, just finding confidence and comfort within playing everything is something I really want to learn, because I feel like over a whole year, you're going to have to play so many patches, so many different styles, that if you have a hinder in one way, kind of right now what I feel I have with Kai'Sa, then it can really hurt your team. So for me individually, it would just be to be able to play everything. I think this would really help my team.
And we will continue to witness your growth as well as G2's growth throughout 2021. Thank you so much for this interview once again.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And after the break, we'll be back with the match of the week, Mad Lions versus Rogue. So I'll see you back here at the LEC very, very soon.